Boy description. He was 8 years old and worked in a circus. He'd only done it for 2 years, so he was still quite new. He loved to eat soft marshmallows. He'd eaten so many, it was sad when you looked at him, for he had no teeth inside of his smile. But he had a strong right arm and could bounce those balls high in the air, and he would always look at the audience. What would make them all gasp was they would see a pet owlet, fluffy and small, upon his shoulder. But he made sure that when people took his photograph, he would always have his hair gelled in new styles. Full story, starting with who. He was a good king, strong and proud, and he would ride on his horse. Everyone loved to see him, but he had a secret inside of his heart, and it was this, that he found a map of his father's, a map that had been hidden far away, and ever since he'd been a boy, he wanted to try and find out what the map meant. And now he had a feeling that it was a place that was far away from here, and down he went to the side of the sea, and he mounted upon his great boat. It was beautiful to see, masts tall, strong and straight. He knew that there would be some kind of treasure, for why would his father have hidden it? And on a day, a strange day, in the north of this great land where the sun shone once, he came and set himself off. But he hadn't brought the right kinds of food, and he found a rash upon his arm, and everyone was worried about him. But he was wise and strong, and he became better. And when he landed, he looked, and instead of treasure, he found a small statue that was smooth in his hand. And as he held it in his hand, he looked and thought, this will bring me great luck, for everyone to come and see and look and gasp at this. But he could never open his hand again. He could never travel back, for he would never be able to shake hands with one or any, and he stayed in that land with the great treasure in his hand as the sun would set, only remembering what it was like to ride a horse. Second description. He was a sad man, and ever since his wife had died, all he would do would sit and play the piano. The taste of his last meal, venison roasted to well done, was still upon his lips, teeth and tongue. He would like to think that he was good at singing, but it was a terrible noise. He had come to this place to live in Lyme Regis, far away from where his wife had died, and collect fossils. He was strong in his leg, but he had a secret inside of his heart. It wasn't just to come to Lyme Regis to go away from the place where his wife had died. He had a mistress that he could see in each of the rocks that he looked at. And he knew at this time those who were religious would scowl at him, and still he played the piano. Complete description starting with internal. She was a fragile kind of a woman who was mischievous. She would move from place to place, but even though she would often be with other people, she was always lonely. Sometimes she would try to dress herself in glamorous clothes so that people would notice her, but nothing seemed to work. She would even travel to the furthest reaches of that place, and as she stood at the mountain top, the wind would blow through her golden hair.